Welcome to episode 38 of the Wheelhouse. I am Andrew O. With me is Gus Rives.
Woo!
And that's it. It's just us two for this episode. But we'll get to that. First, Gus, how are you?
All right.
You said you were bored earlier. You just have nothing going on today?
Oh,
You skipped all your classes?
Nothing. Like there was nothing to do. I skipped all my classes. I was bored. And then I was like, I wish Andrew was here. I could really use a pre-show playlist today. And Andrew didn't come through. I was like, are you serious? The one time I want a pre-show playlist.
I don't have it.
You don't.
Maybe next time.
I don't know, Andrew.
Next time. There will be no next time.
There will be no next time.
You texted me earlier this week and said you were very excited for this show. Why?
I didn't actually mean this show. Funny
What
thing to
did you
say.
Yeah, you said you were very excited to.
I'm very excited for Tuesday.
What?
I'm pointing.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Not the show. You
So
dork.
you don't care about me. I see how it is.
And then you brought up how I had to listen to Ray Charles, and I was like, ugh, I'm gonna.
What?
Yeah. And so,
We'll get to that also.
Yeah. Well,
But-
that is one of the things we're talking about.
How was your weekend?
How's my weekend?
Yeah.
Let me try to remember what happened over the weekend.
You didn't go to the Crumpkin
I
Festival?
didn't go to the Crumpkin Fest. I got an endoscopy. So
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't drive for the rest of the day, so I was in Plano. Yeah.
So you're just like lying around?
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't do anything all day. And then the rest of my weekend was fine.
Sad. The highlight of your weekend and the endoscopy.
Oh, I did go to a party on Saturday night.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You get drunk?
Yeah.
Did you pull a Thursday night, Gus?
Kind of, but not like crazy, like talking loud and everything. But I
Mhm.
did pass out.
Oh.
And I just slept there.
I almost passed out this weekend. From exhaustion. Because I was working
not
on...
from drink.
No.
Oh.
I was working on sets Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And this Sunday, I told you I was in the women's restroom all day, sitting on the toilet.
Right.
Yeah, because that's where I was stationed. I did sound, so kept all the sound stuff in a stall where I wouldn't be seen by the camera. Just sat on the toilet all day. And I realized you got to like bring a book or something. Because a lot of times it's just like, once you set up sound, and we did it in one location, once I set up sound, I'm like, I really just had to hit record when they call it. And then other than that, I just don't do anything.
Yeah, if you were in Kentucky or wherever, you could have been arrested for
Why?
going in there. Because the bathroom,
The transgender thing?
yeah,
Oh,
law
okay.
stuff going.
Well.
Yeah.
Well, this is Texas. That's better, right?
I guess.
Anyway, what I'm leading to is that I was very sad this weekend because talking about that Crumpkin Festival, which is like
Andrew, tell what you've won at the Crumpkin Festival.
There's a little Halloween celebration that one of the commons here in SMU does. It's called the Crumpkin Festival, right?
Mhm.
And one part of that is that they have a film contest, and I submitted a film. Had a lot of people help on it.
It was called like Red
Prairie
Farm
Farm.
Grows. Oh, okay.
Prairie Farm.
Yeah.
It was one of 6 submissions, and I felt very good about it.
Mm-hmm.
Fulfilled all the requirements, and I didn't win. The one thing, so there's various prizes like best actor and best use of the scream or pumpkin, which are stuff you have to include in the film. But I won.
Otherwise known as awards.
Yeah, I won best pun, which is the category I thought I would never win out of all of them because I played as a straight horror film. But I interpreted it as punishment for all the puns I've made in my life that I won best pun.
Well, that's why it's not surprising to me that you won best pun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh.
I thought I was going to win.
If there was anything that Andrew would have won.
Yeah, our friend Lawrence, friend of the show, Lawrence, he submitted one called Trunk or Treat.
Yeah.
And I made that pun, Trunk or Treat. And I thought that one was going to win. And I would be happy because then I won pun for that one, but I didn't.
Did it have to do with like the story? Like, why would Trunk or Treat?
You didn't see it?
No.
All right, it's these 2 robbers, and then they're parked in a parking lot, and then they hear like thumping in the trunk.
Yeah.
And then they want to go check it, but then Batman comes out of nowhere and beats them up. Batman opens the trunk, and it's a little kid in there, and he yells, "Trunk or treat," and then Batman goes trunk, and then slams the trunk closed.
Oh.
Yeah.
What did Lawrence win?
Something. I forget what, but he won something.
Sorry, Lawrence. Yours sounds awesome. Andrew, I have a huge question to ask you actually about your film.
Okay.
Prairie Farm?
Farm, yes.
What does that mean? What did that have to do with
Anything?
your idea? Yeah.
I mean, Gus, have you seen the film? I think I would think it's pretty obvious if you've seen it.
I have seen it. Andrew.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Where?
It takes place in this very room,
Oh.
actually. Yeah.
No, where did you watch it?
Oh, where did I watch it? Well, it's on Facebook.
Okay.
Crumpkins posted it.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it's on YouTube. So. There you
Anyway, I'm mad.
go. Andrew thought he got me, but he didn't. So.
Okay. I'm mad what did win. It was one called Snapped.
Oh, Andrew, you're.
I'm calling them out.
Oh my God, this is. No one listens to this. It's okay.
No, I'm fine. If the president listened to this, I'd still say this stuff.
Well, why'd the president care? I'm just talking about the people who go to school with that worked.
Yeah. So what?
On what I think might be a generation-defining film, perhaps.
It's definitely generation. It appeals to a certain generation.
Yeah.
Which is fine, I guess. But I finally, when I heard that one, I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like devastated. I heard it over the weekend. I was on a set and it just got really sad. So I'm sure all the sound I recorded got worse. But finally mustered up the courage to go watch it. And did not think it was horrible, but I did not think it was good. It was shot it's like a very simple amateur level student film, which isn't a knock to anyone who did it because we're film majors. You have access to better equipment and whatnot. But yeah, I felt it was just capitalizing on the whole social media stuff, trying to be very hip, but it didn't really do anything I haven't seen before. And then on a very logistic level, you use copyright music and the Snapchat logo and stuff, which is problematic. But my biggest problem is that I'm pretty sure it was the Crumb Common submission.
So do you think there was foul play?
I do. Even if it wasn't conscious, just the fact that the Crumb Common submission won the Crumb Commons festival.
Yeah, that's a bit eyebrow raising.
Yes.
Personally, I think from this, I haven't seen the film personally, but it sounds awesome. It sounds hilarious.
We can watch it after we're done recording.
I love
here.
Snapchat. I love snapping my friends. It's good times. I think it'll be like a time capsule, and so future generations might look back and, oh wow, Snapchat used to be a small thing and now it's grown. So
you know who snapped? David Feiss, my DP.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he got so pissed off finding out about. I got really sad. He got really mad. So
you mean actually snapped?
Yeah.
Okay.
But our combined emotions are.
Wait, why did he get pissed off? Same reasons?
Yeah, same reasons that we were we all know the same reasons, but we responded to it differently. He got mad, I got sad.
So, do you think who should have won then? In your humble opinion?
In my humble opinion?
Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen every film.
Oh, okay.
I think I've seen 5 of the 6 actually. Prairie Farm.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It sounds
so
like
you're
very
mad
conceited.
So you're mad at Crumpkin or Crumb Commons for picking
not
their film
over mine.
But you should have won because it's your film. Well, I haven't seen yours, but it was.
What? You just said you did.
Oh yeah, sorry. Haven't seen his. Dang, I revealed myself. My hand.
Well,
revealed.
there's 2 videos we're gonna watch after we're done
Okay.
here, and you could compare, and you
Right.
could you could definitely.
Now we got to
see
do
which
a post show.
post show playlist. Anyway,
Okay, that's not what I meant.
let's address the elephant in the room. So Sterling's gone.
Oh,
Yeah, he quit the Wheelhouse.
the elephant is out of the room.
Oh, you calling the
I'm
elephant?
calling him fat.
Dan? Is Dan here? Yeah, so Sterling, I'm pretty sure he'd been thinking about it for a while, that he felt like, it's taking a lot of time and he wanted to spend time doing other things. And so he has moved on with what he calls an indefinite hiatus. So who knows if he'll be back or not. But for now, it's just Gus and myself, and we're going to still be rocking on. We'll see. We're actually going to take a week, at least a week off, so I can readjust and figure out where the show should go. Had a good old Reese text me today saying hey, can I still recommend something for the show? I was like, well, that's an interesting time for you to ask that because, we're changing. We're not going to completely change the show, but it's in a state of flux right now. So,
Yeah.
And then he said that he could, he could, if Sterling doesn't come back, then he could be the third member of the Wheelhouse. So how do you feel about that, Gus?
About who?
Reese.
I totally zoned out on everything you just said.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
In summary, Reese is going to be the third member of the Wheelhouse now.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
I know. So many changes.
Well, where is he?
Oh, he says he's going to audition first.
Oh.
He said that. He said
he said he has to audition.
He'd audition
for
it.
Okay. Okay.
So we'll see. Who knows? Maybe it'll just be us two. Maybe I'll kick you off. It'll just be me.
Well, I was about to promise the audience that I was going to put in some of my, creative ideas, and so I can undermine you and get you off the show.
Take over. Take over my Squarespace account.
Finally we can get something going.
You can try, Gus.
I remember the password to the Gmail account, so I can do anything.
Mouth it to me right now. Oh, no, you do now. Okay. Anyway. But the show will go on, and today is a generally normal format for the show. Usually we recommend stuff to each other that the other people haven't done. Go out, do those things, come back, and then review it. Today we're going to talk about 3 albums. But first, Gus, I just want to recap with you about the stuff that we were supposed to review last week and just give a few blurbs about what you thought.
Oh man, The Killer, love it.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We don't talk about The Killer because you recommended that. But what I want
but I really liked The Killer last week. That was a good movie.
I mean, I know you recommended it, so yeah.
Yeah.
But why don't you talk a little bit about My Girlfriend's Boyfriend, the stand-up special by Mike Birbiglia.
Before I watched the stand-up special, My Girlfriend's Boyfriend, I watched the movie that seemed like it was made for TV, possibly My Girlfriend's Boyfriend.
Oh,
and that without knowing that it was the wrong thing.
Was it on Netflix too?
It was on Netflix too. And it was the first thing I saw that popped up, so I watched it, and it was horrible. And I just kept like the whole time I was like, "Oh my God, Sterling, why would you recommend this?
Sterling, you got to quit the show now after this."
Fucking terrible. Yeah. That's why Sterling's gone. I got confused with what so. But that was awful. And so then I actually watched the
what you were supposed to.
What I was supposed to, and it was a lot better. It was funny. I definitely am more of a fan of like the Hicks,
Bill Hicks.
Yeah, sort of like
the dark, seedy.
Yeah, I guess kind of like harsher, but I mean, I still thought Mike blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
was fun.
That's how you say it,
you know. So, and he was in the movie we just saw.
Yeah, Don't Think Twice.
Yes,
he directed it.
Don't think twice.
Don't think twice, Gus.
Don't breathe. There we go. I was like, what's that other movie we saw?
Yeah, but last week I did a little blurb about what I thought. I thought it was just okay. I didn't laugh out loud many times, maybe 1 or 2 times.
I thought it was like more of something that I think watching with like a group of people would be better.
Yeah.
Like, because I feel like, I mean, I wouldn't normally put on like a comedy special anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But if I did, I wouldn't put on Bill Hicks because not everyone would probably enjoy that.
Or you'll piss some people off.
It's a bit more intense. But he and others like, what's that dude's name? I'm blanking now, but he's on Netflix. I just saw like him in passing earlier. I was on Netflix, but whatever. Yeah, another guy. Trust me, same kind of deal. Oh, even Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart's a good example.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. So. Finally, Gus, what'd you think about what?
Yeah, what was the last thing?
Episode 1 of Tales from the Borderlands, Zero Sum. I recommended this. You played the first episode. What did you think?
I played the first episode, so I already have a history with Tales games. I played the
Telltale
first
games.
Tales games. Telltale games.
Yeah. Walking Dead.
I do have a history with the Tales games, though.
Yeah.
But Walking Dead season 1 and 2. Loved season 1. Isn't that your like favorite game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I think it's great.
Yeah.
Season 2 was fun, but it definitely wasn't nearly as compelling.
The problem is that I'm so invested in the story now. Even if it's bad, I'm like completely on board. You know, I can't. I'm so ingrained in that world that I just like I can't criticize it.
I feel like it, but isn't season 3 supposed to go somewhere new?
It's
Like
still
new
Clementine.
characters?
Clementine's still in it, but there's also another
Oh.
character, and you alternate between the
Okay,
two.
side rant. Can I have a side rant?
Yeah, sure.
Did you play the 100 days or 500 days
A summer?
DLC? 500 days of
Oh
summer
no,
DLC?
yes, the DLC. Yeah.
It felt like it did absolutely.
Was it between season 1 and
Yes.
1 and 2? Yeah, yeah.
It felt like it didn't play a role at all, and that was annoying to me.
I think what they did is that they made it, and then
they realized
they thought they were going in one direction, and then they
Mhm.
changed it.
I think
And
so too.
only like a couple of characters from that even show
really
up.
only one, the redheaded girl.
Mhm.
I don't even remember her name.
But
yeah, so I played those, and also Wolf Among Us,
Yep.
which I'm not as big of a fan of. I know
Mhm.
you like it a lot.
yeah, I do.
I like the art style a lot.
Hmm. Well, Telltale in general has similar.
But I thought it
art
was
style.
yeah, but I feel like they vary a little bit. Like I feel
Mhm.
like Tales. I think Tales looks like it's Borderlands. Tales of the Borderlands looks like Borderlands.
Which rather
Rather
generally,
than Walking
Telltale
Dead.
Games has that cell shaded look already, and it just fits perfectly
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Borderlands.
it does.
What's your experience with Borderlands games?
Still I haven't experience with that. I played the first one,
Yeah,
loved it. Played the
Same.
second one. I thought it was okay.
yeah. I felt like
it was good.
I
but
burnt out a lot faster
Yeah.
than the.
I
first
agree.
thing.
I also liked the desert more than the ice
Mhm.
kind of like
Yeah.
motif type. Okay. Yeah. I didn't play the pre-sequel.
I did after playing Tales from the Borderlands,
Oh.
because I'm like, I love Tales from the Borderlands so much. I'm like, you know what? I would want to get back into do some more Borderlands stuff. So I played the pre-sequel,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very similar to playing Borderlands 2,
Yeah, I'd imagine.
where it's not definitely nowhere near as fresh. But
Yeah. So yeah, I already liked the world, the
Yeah.
Borderlands world, and so jumping into it was familiar, but that's not a bad thing at all. I ended up liking this a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was just gonna be. I thought it was gonna be fine. I didn't think I wasn't gonna like dislike it, but the writing's really strong.
Yes.
And a big thing that I'm really happy with also is that they didn't go like overboard with the Borderlands type stuff. And by that I mean Claptrap isn't in it every 5 seconds
Yeah.
doing something fucking stupid
Yeah.
and annoying. So
There's not like wacky characters like constantly squawking at you.
There are still wacky characters. Like
Yeah,
there's
sure.
that I forget his name right now, but what's it like that weird dude who follows the female protagonist into the vent?
Oh yeah, it's like Scratch or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Or Squeeze or.
Oh, you didn't replay it, did you?
No.
Yeah, Andrew being a lazy host. Yeah, so I mean, there's still wacky characters, and beyond that, there are good characters. Like I like the characters you play
The
as.
protagonist. Yeah. Reese and Fiona.
Yeah.
Super cool. You play as both of them. Yeah. Love the whole frame story aspect where you start as Reese in present day,
Mm-hmm.
and you're being held captive, and you find out Fiona's being held captive also, and then they tell how they got to that point in flashbacks.
Right.
And you play as different, like you can play the same event, but you play it from their perspective, and sometimes things change a little bit depending on how they tell it. Really neat.
Yeah. So yeah, I like those things. I liked its pacing.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a lot more maybe streamlined than previous games that I had played, but I think that worked to its favor.
Mm-hmm. Well, I felt like some other Telltale series, sometimes the first episode is a little slow and takes a while to get going, but I felt like it was very, like, already, like, first episode, I was already invested.
That's
in
how
the
I
game.
felt with Wolf Among Us.
It was too slow.
Yeah, way. But a negative that unfortunately I still have with Telltale games.
Buggies. Little bugs.
But okay, well, yeah, but I don't know how they always have bugs, because these games aren't necessarily. I mean, I'm not saying like these are easy to make or anything like that, obviously.
But they're not graphically intensive.
They're not like Grand Theft Autos or anything.
It's an old engine. They got an old engine.
And their team. Their team's not that small, is it? I don't know.
I think they're made up of I think it's a medium-sized developer at this point. They have a lot of like mini teams that work on different projects.
Right, yeah.
Like they're doing Batman now, Minecraft.
Yeah, Minecraft. That's one I will not be playing.
Yeah.
It's Minecraft.
They're still doing Walking Dead, Wolf Among Us, Tales from the
God,
Borderlands.
there's so many.
I know.
Oh, Game of Thrones too.
Game of Thrones, yeah.
But so one thing I always have a problem with is that I feel like these games always like advertise that they're very like decision driven and everything matters, and I feel that is not nearly the case at all, and it is for the most part, save for a handful of decisions, a very linear game. Yes.
And I argue with that all the time. Where
you argue with that?
Yeah,
you think that's
I don't think it's a problem.
I think it is. I think it. So one example, I can't think of from Tales of the Borderlands, so I'm just going to go with one from the original Walking Dead because it was the first time I encountered it, because that was when I realized that it didn't matter. There's a character named Duck, little kid.
Little boy.
Wait. Is it Duck? Maybe. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. No, it is Duck. I'm pretty sure. He's on a tractor. And then there's another character who's like stuck in a fence or something. Or maybe Duck is the one stuck in the fence.
Isn't it like the beginning of like episode 2 or something?
Yeah. Or middle way through and a zombie's there. And then you have to choose which one to save. But either one you choose, Duck gets saved. And I do. I think that's bullshit. I think it should go farther.
But how do you know that?
Because I went back and
we played it again. Yeah,
and it's the same thing. Duck gets saved both times, even if you choose not to save him. So no, that is not choosing your own adventure, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so I understand, sort of like telling a story, but I just feel like they give you all these decisions that ultimately result in the same thing. So.
Yeah, which I don't necessarily have a problem with, because when the first time you play through, you feel like you are making choices, right? And then that gets you involved in the story.
For the first episode of Walking Dead season 1, I felt like my choices.
But after that, you're like.
But then I realized that that it didn't matter, and then so from there on out, I had no. So when I first started playing Walking Dead and I really liked it, I was like, I'm going to go back and see what happens. I wanted to play the game multiple times and see what the outcomes were. And so when I found out that that's not really anything, really, I mean, decisions matter in very, I guess, small ways. And so I don't know. That's something that always irked me.
It never bothered me, because it's like it's just creating the illusion of choice. So
it's creating the illusion of choice, and I feel like that's a lie.
But on practical level, they can't build, outcomes for every single decision you make. Because then
I'm not even talking about like the small ones, even bigger ones, like that duck and that dude.
Yeah, like
the decisions are very like definite. Choose to save Duck or choose to save the other dude. Yeah, it's not like me saying like a character says something, I'm like, oh, that's a good thing, or oh, that's stupid. It's not like that. I understand that those shouldn't matter, that those are very small and minor, but the bigger things I think ultimately should go different ways depending on what you choose.
That's really only an issue if you either play the game again or like watch walkthroughs or read up on the game afterwards, right? If you just play the game one time through and you just play it, you would never know, right? In theory,
you would never know, but I do know. So, so that doesn't apply to me. If I was arguing from the perspective for someone who would never find out that their choices didn't ultimately matter and they wouldn't play the game again, then I would say that it's not
just let me live in this illusion.
It's not even like I'm not saying this game is not good because of this. I think this game is great. I have the season pass, so I'm going to play all the episodes. I haven't returned yet. Okay. But we've been on this long enough. It was supposed to be like a little tidbit. So we can just do cliff notes on the first album.
Oh no!
Modern sounds of music.
No. Are you talking about the first album? What I recommended, Modern Sounds in Country and Western Music.
Yeah.
It is the 18th studio album by Ray Charles.
18th?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What?
Okay, I didn't realize it was like that far into his career.
He does tons of stuff.
Well, he's dead, so he doesn't do it that way.
It was released in April 1962. Gus, what is your experience with The Genius?
Very, very like little experience other than the movie Ray.
This is one of my favorite albums of all time.
Really?
I had you only listen to Volume 1.
I know, yeah.
But there's also a Volume 2 that's also amazing.
Hey, hold on, I need to fix that inflection. Really?
You didn't like it?
There we go. I don't dislike it.
Oh no.
I think it's a
what is this, Moondance?
respectable piece of music. I actually liked Moondance more. Not very much more. Like very like it's very marginal, you know. This is a respectable piece of music. And let me say, performance-wise, you know, there's nothing you can really like fault, you know. Right, especially one of my big pros is Ray Charles' voice.
Oh yeah,
his voice is very
he's
sweet.
He's one of the greatest singers of all time.
His voice is
he has that distinct grain.
Is one of that is one of the most, I guess, alluring parts of the music.
Mm-hmm.
Well, also a big thing to know is that these are all covers.
Yes. Well, that's the big thing about the album, is that he took country and Western standards and then sort of interpreted them as like R&B songs with some like jazz and soul elements and whatnot.
Yeah, I wonder if that Sturgill dude did the same thing.
Sturgill.
Did he do the same thing?
For his album?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't listened to it.
I don't know either. He did like a, what was it called? Meta
modern sounds in country music.
Yeah. Anyway, but I guess this era of music and before it has never appealed to me too much.
Yeah.
And I don't have too much exposure to it outside of, say, like movies that come from that era or take place in that era type, you know, like that sort of thing. And so
that sort of big band sort of sound.
Yeah. And so I only get so much enjoyment out of music like this. It is not something that I personally go out of my way to listen to. But there are some good covers.
So overall, you say it just doesn't do it for you?
Overall, I'd say it doesn't do it for me on a, I guess,
personal level, emotional level,
like an entertainment level. But,
oh really?
But
my gosh, entertainment level! Like I could just listen to this all the time.
No, I can't. Yeah. It was starting to bore me by the end. But on a level of like understanding its place in music history and everything like that, I can respect it.
And I'll get to that.
And you know, its place in the early '60s and civil rights, stuff like that. Hank Williams died 1953, January 1st. Anyway, he does Hank Williams covers. So
there's a couple songs you do like.
Yes.
Such as.
Okay, so let me say, I think the album starts really strong. Yeah. Like first 3 tracks, I was like, yeah,
digging it.
I'm digging it. And then it hits my least favorite track. Can you bring up the tracks?
Oh, yeah, sure. Give me a sec.
Well, I'm trying to remember what the name is.
Well, I know the first song is Bye Bye Love.
It's the 4th track.
You Don't Know Me.
You Don't Know Me is what it's called?
No, that's the 2nd track.
And then it's Not As Much. Or half as much. There we go. Sorry. And then the 4th one. One of your favorite albums of all time, allegedly. Can't even name it.
Could you name every track?
Yeah, probably.
Can you name every track of Zen Arcade?
I probably...
In order?
In order, maybe not. I probably could. Out of order. Anyway,
what you're saying is that you can't do it.
Well, that has 23 tracks.
Sure.
Well, if we count volume 1 and 2, this would be 24. So, but actually, I could link that to something, which is one of my cons of the album as well.
Okay, but the 4th song.
So I Love You So Much It Hurts, and I have to say, I'm unsure whether or not it's because of the original recording or if it's because... Did you, like, rip this from a CD? Or did you get it digital?
This is ripped from CD.
Okay. Maybe the CD had, like, scratches.
Oh.
Because something that I noticed more specifically on this song, it happened a few more times throughout the album, is that in the left channel, it would, like... The sound would, like, kind of cut off a little bit.
Oh, I never noticed that.
And it really, like, it really kind of ruined.
Are you sure it wasn't an artistic choice? Because there's a lot of stereo panning going on in this album.
If it's an artistic choice, it's a bad one. And then I'm just flat out saying it's bad. But considering that, I don't know, it's a pretty, like, apparently well-known song. It has an article. I would say that he wouldn't have put that kind of artistic choice on that. But yeah, so that kind of dampened my appreciation for that song. But after that, I think the rest of side one is pretty meh. Also, a huge thing that this is not Ray Charles' fault. It is being a what do they call it? A victim of your
circumstance,
your era. You know.
Like some of the content.
No. So this was obviously originally released on vinyl, and so side 1 ends with track 6, which is Born to Lose, and then side 2 would open with Worried Mind. But when you're listening to it on CD, it just goes Born to Lose, Worried Mind, and it's just it feels like playing, like, I understand them both as Born to Lose as a closer and Worried Mind as an opener, but just being middle of an album tracks, they just kind of get lost in that. Other than Worried Mind's, like, piano little interlude, that's actually one of the highlights I have. But on top of that, Just a Little Lovin' Will Go a Long Way is also one of my least favorite songs. But what I think is hilarious is how it goes from that to Born to Lose. It's just like such a jarring change in emotion. Just a little lovin' will go a long way, or at least like musical, you know. Just a little lovin' is more upbeat. Born to Lose is more.
Well, yeah, which there is a lot of variation on this album from a lot of fast songs.
I would say that's not a smooth slide though. I'd say that's pretty jarring. With that being said, I think side 2 picks up steam again with my favorite cover being "You Win Again." I love that song. Easily, in my opinion, the best on this album. "Careless Love" is also really good, but yeah. So I guess my big thing with this kind of music is that it just doesn't, like, stick with me, and so it's, like, really hard distinguishing.
Like song to song?
Not necessarily song to song, like listening to it. Yeah. But when you're trying to, like, think back, it's like all just kind of like pop, you know, R&B songs that just kind of.
I don't know. Like when I could think back and think of all the melodies.
But you couldn't. You couldn't think of "I Love You So Much It Hurts." You couldn't think of the name.
Not the track order, but now I know, like, the chorus and what it sounds like. Like, all of these songs, I think, have great melodies with strong performance by Ray Charles vocally. That stick with me. They stick with me. I can remember each song, how it sounds, and there's a beautiful arrangements behind each one.
There's some
with strings and brass instruments, drum, like a cool jazz drum a lot of times, and that panning's really neat. Also great backing vocals too. Kind of like
actually, one thing I wasn't sure of are the backing vocals on some of the tracks. Are they from the, like, original songs?
Original? Oh, I don't know.
Because it sounds sometimes like it's not
different quality or something.
Yeah, different quality. And also on here, it doesn't say, like, list any singers. It just says, like, additional musicians. Which, by the way, everyone's dead on this album. It's pretty sad. Yeah, but. Overall, you know, I mean, is it my cup of tea? It's not really, but I'm not saying that it's like it's like a low quality thing. It's just, it's kind of like, kind of like jazz, you know.
Yeah.
Jazz is something I respect, but
You can't get into
it's hard for me to get into it. Yeah. So
You don't like the thematic unity, like all songs about like heartbreak and loneliness and stuff. I think that's awesome. And even though like there's like fast songs and slow songs.
Well, that's what that era was. Every album seemed to be like that, love and blues. So no, that's why this era just doesn't stick out to me that much. Because I mean, of course, it was like early on, so a lot of things were more rudimentary. Not necessarily the big band stuff. I mean, the arrangements are quite nice, and so I mean,
guys, you're disappointed me once again. Let's get this out of the way.
And
do your dumb Rives rule thing. What's my favorite song?
I wouldn't even. Is it Hey Good Looking?
No.
Okay, good.
That's your least favorite.
That's my least favorite. Is that what you said?
Is it?
Hey
Good Looking.
Well, no, probably I Love You So Much It Hurts because of the
Too sappy.
No, because of the
the weird panning.
The weird thing. Yeah. I wasn't sure what was going on,
anyway.
Which might not be the song's fault itself, actually. So, what would your favorite song be?
You Don't Know Me.
You Don't Know. Oh yeah, You Don't Know Me is good.
Yeah,
those first three tracks.
And how it progresses, it's like very like smooth.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what's your? Do you have a least favorite track? Or
no, I love every song.
You just love every song.
I think every song is great. Screw you. Anyway.
Dang, he's
let me school you.
Going hard, man.
Gus, let me school you. Maybe you'll change your mind.
Okay.
Ray Charles.
Yeah.
He was a pioneer of soul music in the 50s with Atlantic Records. And then the contract ended there. He signed with ABC Paramount Records. And he decided, you know what, I don't really want to write my own music anymore. I'm just going to primarily focus on interpreting what's already out there.
Mm.
So along with his longtime collaborator...
Can't blame him, though. He's blind, you know.
Along with his longtime collaborator, Sid Feller, they chose, like I mentioned before, country and Western music standards,
right,
like Hank Williams, Don Gibson, and then infused it with that R&B flair. And a lot of people thought that was a bad idea because of the racial differences. Yeah,
tensions. You
got all of them white people with the country music and all the black people with the R&B. They're like, it's not going to work. Yeah. Well, it did because...
So is Macklemore like today's Ray Charles?
Yeah. But not blind.
Yeah.
But it worked. Ray succeeded because he just made good music that crossed, racial barriers. He was one of the first black artists to get like considerable radio play in the mainstream. All these things, Gus, they're not changing your mind about this album?
What? Why would those things change my mind about the album?
I don't know.
It's for me, it's about like personal enjoyment. That's why I said I understand and appreciate this album's place in music history and pop culture.
Yeah, but you think it sucks.
Andrew, you're acting like a petulant child.
I'm not.
Can't stand another
not petulant.
opinion.
Maybe just like a child. Anyway, let's see if you act like a child when we talk about what you recommended.
All right. You might... Okay, so Solid State Survivor.
Yes.
Well, I'll just let you know that Solid State Survivor isn't even like one of my favorite albums, so you're not going to hurt my feelings if you're like, I hated this or anything like that.
But it is the second album by Japanese electronic music band Yellow Magic Orchestra, released September 25th, 1979. Never released in the U.S. Gus, how do you have it?
iTunes.
What?
It's on iTunes.
Oh, okay, never mind. I guess they never did like a
physical release maybe?
Yeah, in the U.S.
That's actually really interesting, though, knowing that its place... This is, Solid State Survivor, I do enjoy it more than the last album we talked about, but it's similar in the ways I enjoy it. I respect it more than enjoy it.
What, this album?
Yes, because this album has a very interesting place in music history. Not this group more so than the album.
Mm-hmm.
In two very different genres, so to speak.
It is considered very influential in the development of electronic music.
Yeah, but even beyond that, Do you know?
And video games?
Well, yes, video games is one.
And porn? I don't know.
Oh, my God, Andrew. Hip-hop.
Oh, yeah. Sampling,
yeah.
sweet sampling.
I was surprised to find out that YMO were a very popular sampled group in early hip hop. I think I'm blanking on the name of the group, but Planet
Tenix. Planet Caravan.
Planet Caravan. Planet Funk? Is that what it's called?
Captain Planet.
Planet. It's that 80s. God, I can't believe.
80s what? Hip hop?
Yes, it's a hip hop song. It's like 7
Rapper's
minutes
Delight?
long. It's like, oh my god.
Is it
whatever.
Grandmaster
Anyway, that
Flash?
was it was very important in hip hop history. This is a laid back episode.
Was it by Grandmaster Flash?
No, it was not.
Okay.
Anyway, yes. So it has its hip hop roots, but also quite clearly, this is a predecessor of video game music.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like it could be in like 80s or 90s.
There was some like
games.
chirps in here. I'm like, oh, that sounds like it was just pulled out from a game.
Yeah.
Or like they stole it from here or something.
And it's pretty crazy. Like this. So I mean, this predates that, but it fits so well.
Predates a lot of things.
Predates a lot of things,
But
including the song. Maybe you've heard the Beatles cover "Day Tripper." Yeah, YMO wrote it first. So.
Yeah.
Not really, but anyway, yeah. What were you gonna say?
I think this album's great.
Oh, okay.
It's a feast for the ears, is how I describe it.
Wow.
Yes, it's very bright and bouncy and very layered. Also,
It is vivid.
yeah, kind of reminds me of Bach, his music. Yeah, because they're like you have that
I could see
that melody and that counter melody going under it, like a lot of stuff like that. Very rhythmic and pulse.
Very video game music. Yeah, before YMO, Bach was the first video game musician.
YMO is the Bach of electronic music.
Yeah. Yes.
And yeah, a lot of unique electronic sounds. They're always adding new elements, but I love how it's always grounded by actual drums and bass and piano sometimes.
Right.
Gives a very unique sort of texture.
Yeah, there's some pretty killer bass.
Yeah.
On this
the first
album.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, there's like a great sense of exploration. Like it always just boggles my mind every time I look out, like when this came out. It's still like, wow, this is really early.
Yeah.
And if you feel like they're having sort of fun trying to figure stuff out too.
I think so too. And even like just looking at the cover, I love the cover. It's so goofy looking.
And I have a little analogy here.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah. Like Philip Seymour Hoffman's Come in Happiness.
Okay.
They throw a lot of things at the wall and it sticks.
Wow.
Yes. Anyway.
Okay.
So.
Still haven't seen Happiness.
But you have seen that scene many a time.
Many a time.
Because we've showed it to you. But, yeah. Very, very, a delicious album, I would say.
Wow, a delicious
It's very yummy.
album.
Yeah.
I
want to go back and like listen to the melodies and stuff because they're like little earworms, kind of.
There are some great earworms.
Yeah.
In particular, again, the first 3 tracks on this album. The first 3 tracks on this album are so good.
Agreed.
Especially my jam, Absolute Ego Dance.
Yeah.
I love Absolute Ego Dance.
The only thing that bothered me is that little like high pitched bird that goes through the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
It gets a little on my nerve just a little bit, but everything else is so strong. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, those are probably my 3 favorite too. I can't pick a favorite.
Absolute Ego Dance is my favorite. Those 3, and then the closer, Solid State Survivor, I also like a lot.
Not Behind the Mask.
No, Behind the Mask is probably my least
What?
favorite. Well, it's kind of hard to say. So Castalia and Insomnia are kind of similar in the way that they're, I guess, atmospheric.
More lethargic.
More sinister.
Castalia, especially.
More mysterious.
I call it the Planet Caravan of Solid State. Every time there's like a really like very fast-paced album and there's one slow song, I call it the Planet Caravan of that album. Sorry.
That's not even like it's not like that album. Paranoid is like a super
the
fast
first one.
album though.
But it's definitely like
Slower than the rest of
and
the
not
tracks.
as like
Sure.
loud and
Yeah.
energetic and whatnot. I just do that from now on.
Interesting. But yeah, so Castalia and Insomnia are enjoyable in a certain way, not in the same way of Technopolis or Absolute or Writing, in the fact that those are kind of more, I guess, those kind of are more like ear candy type songs.
Candy is a good word.
Where like definitely I'd say Castalia is more about like the ambiance of it.
Mm-hmm.
And Insomnia is just this was my least favorite track originally, but listening to it again, I kind of liked all the different noises they had in it and whatnot. But it goes on a bit too long. It is the longest track.
Mm-hmm.
Not that any of these tracks like overstay their welcome.
They're short album.
Pretty short album.
Yeah. My least favorite track
is
Day Tripper.
I knew it.
I was so looking forward to it because I'm like, Day Tripper, yes, I love that song. And I got to it, and it didn't do anything for me.
I like it.
I think the standard was set so high with the first side especially. And then
you're expecting
something like revelatory interpretation of Day Tripper. But even like the opening guitar riff is just like, it's not even like the most prominent sound. It's almost a little muted. And also that's when they start singing Day Tripper.
Oh! I thought you just meant on the entire album. I was like, no,
they have some vocals, but they're like very distorted and robotic, and you can't always hear what they're saying.
Can't always understand.
And Day Tripper is when they actually start like
Day Tripper, yeah.
And, they're not bad singers, but again, it was like they set the precedent of how it sounded.
They are Japanese,
and they started speaking and like, get these Japanese guys out of here.
Oh my god. No, I do understand that. I kind of like Day Tripper because I think I respect their I guess initiative to try something different, because they could have very easily done a more conventional cover in their kind of like a beat style that they did, and so like it is a very weird cover. Like it is subdued, I would say.
Yeah,
almost. I
want it to be more in your face.
Yeah, I think it would be cool in your face still, but I still like what's going on. Wow. Yeah. So Behind the Mask sucks though.
No, it doesn't.
No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't.
Gus, how would you compare this to Kraftwerk? Because I haven't listened to any Kraftwerk, and you definitely get a distinct Japanese sound from this album.
Okay,
there's just some like sort of musical phrasing, like, oh, that sounds very like Japanese. Is there like in Kraftwerk, is it similar, like this sounds like European?
So for both groups, I only have one album to even compare them.
Under your belt.
Yeah. Kraftwerk's Autobahn.
Yeah.
And then this. And so just off of those, very different bands. Obviously, YMO, they are Japanese. It is more upbeat. It sounds like a video game. They even like did video game music. I think one of them worked on one of the Sonic the Hedgehog soundtracks, like in the Sega Genesis days, not like Sonic 06
or Fire and Ice or whatever.
Yeah, Sonic Boom.
Or Sonic
Boom. Whereas Kraftwerk, I would say, is more experimental with the sound. They're more about, I would say, the ambiance direction rather than the pop direction. Yeah. So I enjoy YMO more, or I enjoy this album more than Autobahn. Yeah.
I was also surprised looking at Kraftwerk briefly. Like they were earlier than YMO. Like they started in 1970. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Even way earlier. Yeah. One of them's dead. Rest in peace. These three dudes are still alive.
Then they broke up and then they got back together and released an album under not YMO.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they apparently like their record label had the rights to the name. So when they toured, they were billed as not YMO or YMO with a strike through.
Oh, okay, I have seen that. Now I understand why it's like that. Okay.
Yeah, credited to their last album with Technodon, credited to YMO with YMO strike through.
Oh, that was in '93. I thought you meant like recently.
Oh, well, whenever they got back together.
Well, they did get back together again, but I guess they haven't released anything.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long album too.
What is it?
It's 63 minutes.
That's not that bad.
That's a long album.
Yeah, it's no Lulu.
That's twice as... Okay, no. It's no...
It's no All Things Must Pass.
Melancholy. Anyway. Swans. Everything. Swans is overdone. I started listening to Swans recently. Anyway, yeah. Album's cool. Very interesting.
It's just something where you're like, yeah, I go back and listen to some of the songs again. It's just so much. It's delicious. It's tasty.
I wish they were on streaming. I wish it was there. It was easier to get their music in America because I don't want to pay for another album. But I would want to listen to it. So
Cool.
Life's rough.
Shall we, Gus, move on to our final album?
Yes.
What is it?
The Sunset Tree by the Mountain Goats.
Yes, it is the 9th album by the Mountain Goats, released April 26, 2005. Mountain Goats being an indie folk rock group led by John Darnielle. I heard about Mountain Goats back in my grade school days.
In your grade school days?
Mm-hmm.
As in, like,
In,
first grade?
Yeah.
Wow.
More like late middle school, early high school. And I was like, what is this indie?
That's earlier than I did.
Oh.
I didn't hear about them until Sterling.
I just heard about them. Like, why are all these indie bands have animals in their names? You got Arctic Monkeys,
You
Tame
got
Impala,
Panda Bear.
Grizzly Bear.
Grizzly Bear.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, no, Fleet Foxes.
Yeah. Black Keys. Crazy, man. Fleet Foxes,
Crickets.
yeah. Arcade Fire. So strange.
Nickelback.
Sterling isn't here to talk about why he recommended it, but so we're just like this is our first introduction.
Yes,
to
yeah.
Mountain Goats?
Okay, well, I've only heard Sterling played a little bit of their latest album one time in the car,
Mm-hmm.
and off that listen, I was like, I don't think they're my cup of tea.
Cup of tea.
Yeah.
Say that for everything, man.
What?
Cup of tea. Why don't you mix it up?
Oh, okay, fine. This ain't my...
It doesn't float my boat.
No, I don't like that one.
Okay.
That one sounds weird. I don't know why. That one, it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Float my boat.
It doesn't fit my palm. I came up with that just now. Anyway, what'd you think, Gus?
I was pleasantly surprised
Ooh.
with this album.
Is this another Pine Grove?
Yeah, actually. In fact, I liked it more than Cardinal.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was very surprised. So the thing that originally, I guess, put me off about the Mountain Goats when I heard those few songs from, I think it's called Beat the Champ,
Mm-hmm.
is Darnielle's voice.
Yes.
And
Obviously.
I think probably everyone has to
Get past
past that.
Yeah.
And,
Initial hump.
And I think I've mostly gotten past it. There's still, there's still times that I'm like,
Few
it's too much.
Enunciations that are like, ooh.
Yeah.
Change. I described it as Bo Burnham by way of Max Bemis.
Bo Burnham. Oh, that's actually one of the guys who crossed my mind earlier, but I didn't say his name. Anyway, that's a very interesting
Comparison?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Was that as good as a Happiness Philip Seymour Hoffman come one?
Yeah, I'd say it's better.
Thanks. I did win best pun, if you forgot. I mean, that's not a pun, but it's like it's in a similar, yeah.
Yeah, that's not a pun.
It's a similar, sort of word compare. Okay, anyway. You got over the hump.
I got over the hump.
I got over the hump.
And I ended up really enjoying Sunset Tree.
Yep. I had a similar feeling with Enema of the State, where at first I did not like it. Darnielle's vocals being one.
In the way you didn't like it, or just the fact that you didn't like it?
Upon initial listen, I was not digging either album. But then as I listened to it more, I warmed up to it.
I thought you meant it reminded you of Enema of the State, and I was like, what?
No, not at all. It's when I hear an album an indie album like this, I always sort of fall back into just relegating it as it just has a similar sound.
Mm-hmm.
All the lyrics are very forceful and kitsch, that sort of thing.
Thankfully,
I have that
not like that.
That bias against these sorts of.
I do understand that bias. Yeah.
Yeah, but then you gotta kind of listen to it a few times, and then you'll get past that.
I didn't even need to do it a few times. I liked it upon my first listen.
Mm.
Did it take a few times for you to find it?
I did have to listen. I liked it more as I re-listened to the album. I also liked it more as the album went on, because there's some definite changes in the actual album.
There are. That's one of the things I really like.
Yeah.
So there's 13, 15 songs, something like that.
13.
And I'd say they all have a pretty good variety. I would say on the slow songs.
The last half.
Yeah. I guess namely, Hast Thou Considered the Tetrapod, which is a funny name, but it kind of seems I would almost call it redundant. I'm still fine with it, but it has nothing on the best
slow song, which is my favorite song. Do you know? Do you know what it is?
That's slow. So is it after Hast Thou Considered?
I don't know. Is it?
Slow song. Is it Song for Dennis Brown?
No.
That was my guess.
That's actually my least favorite song.
Oh, it works. It works.
It works the other way.
Is that Love, Love, Love?
No, it's Dino Lapati's Bones.
Gus, that's my favorite song too.
Dude, Dino Lapati's Bones is so good. I can't. Oh yes, gave me a shoe 5. Yeah, Dino Lapati's Bones is it's
best
so
song.
nice. It's so like warm. I love like the end of the chorus, the upwards inflection right at the end.
It stood out to me because the first 5 tracks, that was where I was the most stale on the album, because it was just sort of a more typical indie rock sort of sound, and then it goes into that song and it changes up the pace a lot, and it just stuck out a lot more. And I think that song and the 2 after that, Up the Wolves and Lion's Teeth, are sort of the climax of the album, where it's the most powerful. And then after that point, it becomes like pretty much acoustic, a lot more stripped down, where it's just, vocals and guitar the whole way through.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is very interesting. And thematically too, it is pretty much all centering on Darnielle's childhood, especially with his abusive stepfather.
Well, that intertwined with like drug addiction. I think he did like methamphetamines. Yeah. Which is pretty hardcore.
Hardcore.
I was surprised to find out how old this guy is.
Yeah.
He's 51.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh my
it's like
God.
You think he just like an up and coming young 20 something.
Yeah, seriously. So I mean, just based on, I guess, the personal experiences, I would say that the lyrics are one of the strongest points of the album, and yeah. So I guess in like the Mountain Goats isn't necessarily comparable musically to Say Anything, but they're almost in that same like kind of like in that same stratosphere of bands almost, and that scene, Sterling scene, and Say Anything had like lyrics that weren't typical at all, but a lot of times I felt like they were empty, or they did it for no reason. Oh, God.
Remember that, your favorite song?
Yeah. But here, like, I just think the lyrics are really good. I think they're really well, they're thoughtful and
personal,
well pieced together. Yeah, very personal. I think some of like the metaphors and whatnot work well. I'm trying to think of I think it was Dilaudid is the only one that like lyrically that I didn't really care for.
It's also probably instrumentally the most unique one, because it has that cello backing too.
Yeah, I thought it was it is one of the most unique in that regard, but I almost feel like it's one of the most plain because of it. It just sounds like it could have been on like any other album. I feel like. So yeah, great lyrics.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree, and I think like just in general, it's all tied together by his child experience, abusive stepfather, and the drug abuse. I think there could have been. Would you consider this a concept album?
See, I'm always unsure because
there's like various definitions.
Yeah, so to me,
consider
concept album would be like something with a story, because there are albums with themes that I wouldn't necessarily call a concept album.
Yeah,
so this almost, I guess it almost kind of is.
I had a feeling where I felt like he could have like unified the songs more and pushed it to actually being almost a straight up concept album, because there's a lot of times where he's telling flashbacks or telling stories and narrating, and I feel like you could have stringed some of these stories together and make one overarching narrative, and I felt like that it was all the groundwork was laid to do that, but it wasn't there. And again, it's kind of unfair to fault the album for not doing something that it never sought out to do, but I had that feeling where I felt like it could have been a little, if it wanted to, it could have brought everything together.
I kind of like its disjointedness though. And I feel like if you tried to do that, then it would make some songs at that point
redundant.
I mean, not that would stop them. I mean, like Green Day, "Wake Me Up When September Ends." You know, that didn't have to be on American Idiot, but it is. You know,
Deal with it.
But like "Love, Love, Love" wouldn't necessarily work anymore.
Yeah, that's more of a single pop hit.
Yeah, and I like that song a lot. If that song wasn't on there, I'd be sad. So
Sad.
If he straight up went for a concept album, not that it wouldn't work, because yeah, you're right, the groundwork is there, but I think it would change a lot of things about the album. So
maybe for the better.
It could be, but you're wrong, and it's not.
Well, I flipped to the next page of my notebook and it's blank. Does that mean we're done, Gus?
Oh my God, that means we're finished.
We're finished, are we? Do you have anything else to say, Gus?
Listen, listeners. I just want to tell you something.
Are you about to cry? You look like you're about to cry.
Yeah. Andrew's leaving the show. It's gonna be just me. Andrew's still gonna like set up the stuff, but I'm gonna be
edit.
Yeah, he's gonna. Thank God, he's gonna edit too.
I'm gonna press record.
Yes.
And then I'll leave the room. No, actually sit here. I just don't say anything.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even going to use this mic stand, and I need something to hold it because I don't want to. But I'm going to be your sole host from now on, the Gus Cast.
All right, Gus, why don't you start now? Start now by wrapping up the show.
Okay, you know where to go. Peace.